What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Out of the Basement. I'm Nate, joined with Justin.
What's up, guys?
And today we are going to be discussing the best and worst films of 2019. Of course, let us know what your favorite movies of 2019, your best and worst. Let's talk about them in the comments down below. So the first movie I want to talk about is a movie we recently reviewed. And this is going to go towards the best. We're going to flip-flop back and forth. We'll do a movie we really like.
We don't like to do... I mean, we love to do lists on the basement,
true.
But for movies, we just randomly like to do best and worst because it's better.
Yeah, true.
Bounce and forth between the shitty and the good.
We also don't go out of our way to see bad movies in theaters, and I don't ever want to watch a bad movie. I want every movie to... I feel stupid I have to say this,
Shitty modern horror?
Okay, that's different. I'm talking about in a theater when I've paid money. Like, I want to see a good movie. When I'm buying Wish Upon for $1 at Family Video,
right.
I'm like, who gives a shit?
Right.
But on our first best of 2019 list, and this is in no particular order except for number one, our favorite movie will be our number one favorite, but just no particular order, Uncut Gems, which was a movie we recently reviewed on the channel. You can check out a more in-depth video about that. Spoilers. But we really enjoyed the movie.
Right. Safdie brothers. Loved a good time. Loved Uncut Gems.
Yeah, great performances from Adam Sandler, Julia Fox, Kevin Garnett. So many good things about the movie.
Very tense, very suspenseful. Good soundtrack.
Engaging movie, too. I was captivated by the entire thing, so Uncut Gems is definitely a movie that you should see in theaters.
Yeah, I think this was my third favorite of the year, 2019. So.
Yeah, I'd say third or fourth would probably be a good pick, but again, no real order.
Yeah, if I can remember it, I'll say my number. 'Cause I have my list up here somewhere. It's on my letterbox, but
I didn't rank my movies. I just kind of put them in whatever order. So, Justin, what was our first worst movie? We rang in the year with this one.
This, I think, is my least favorite movie of the year. When you take in terms like rewatchability. Glass by whatever the
M. Night Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan, yep. The most odd director ever who can direct a good movie and then direct a lot of horrible movies.
Right.
But this is especially disappointing after everyone here at Out of the Basement enjoyed Split quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, and I went back and I watched Unbreakable, and I enjoyed it. I like Split more. I think Split is the best out of that trilogy. But yeah, it's just such an unsatisfying movie.
Glass was just so boring. It's the worst thing a movie can do is be boring. A movie can be laughably bad.
Yeah.
And you still have some amount of entertainment out of it.
Right.
But this one commits the biggest sin of just being boring. And I don't mean like I need guns and explosions to be entertained. I just mean like structure-wise, nothing. They're just in this psych ward building, and it's just like imagery and plot points that I've seen 1,000 times. You got Samuel Jackson just going, I'm in, I've hacked everything. Like, severely disappointing, and especially with rewatchability. I'll never watch this movie again in my life.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to some of the other horrible movies of 2019, I could see, like, I'm at a party, someone puts it on, and a group of friends watches it. Like,
right.
I could realistically see that happening with Glass. Like, nobody's gonna go, hey, guys want to watch Glass?
Right. Next up for a good movie we watched this year, we're talking about Ari Aster's sophomore film, Midsummer.
Yeah, or Midsommar,
as
he pronounces it.
Yes.
What a total nightmare.
Unreal.
We do have a review of this film up on the channel.
True. More in-depth thoughts.
But it's basically a nightmare. It's not escapist horror.
Yeah.
This is... You need to be in the right mindset to watch this movie. Incredibly depressing, but overall just really eerie and creepy. It's not straight up horror.
No. But
it's terrifying.
Yeah, and that was kind of my...
Because it's real.
I was expecting something more along the lines of Hereditary in terms of the horror, which is probably... It's not even really a complaint at this point, but I kind of do wish there would have been a little bit more horror in Midsummer. But it is more of like a movie about grief and dealing with those feelings in your life.
Relationship.
Yeah.
probably one of the main themes, like toxicity in a relationship and exiling yourself from that toxicity.
Yeah.
As we see at the end of the film.
100%.
So, rewatchability is not that high, but it was still just masterfully crafted.
Yeah, true. You got to respect the set design, the camera work, the cinematography, the soundtrack, fantastic.
And it's disturbing.
Yeah.
The gore was disturbing. There's a lot of things in the movie that just are not in other horror films in terms of gore and just disturbing things, like the suicide double homicide at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And the dad with his two kids just, nope, we're getting out of here.
Yeah.
And just the sound design of Florence Pugh's like crying and sobbing when it gets into like the wheezing. I'm like, oh my god, that's such a weird sound.
Yeah. She did great.
Yeah, is she in the Black Widow trailer? I thought that was her. I was like, good for her. She's getting some big bucks now.
She's making big Marvel money now, so.
Good for her.
Yeah.
This was my second favorite of the year, but...
Yeah, second favorite for me as well.
I actually don't have it on Blu-ray because they messed up on that release. Very visual film, and it doesn't have a 4K.
Yep.
Doesn't have the director's cut, which was a hyped up thing.
Yeah.
Just a regular Blu-ray with the theatrical cut, which I'll probably end up getting at some point.
Possibly, but for now we voted with our wallets, and we said bad A24.
So our next shitty, horrible movie that we saw this year was Annabelle. It's called Annabelle Comes Home.
Yeah. Did you also forget that you saw this movie? Because I forgot until I was looking through my Letterboxd list of years of movies I saw in 2019. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh yeah, there was a fucking Annabelle movie that came out this year. Super boring, unmemorable. Conjuring universe is getting tired, and Conjuring 3 is probably going to be a big steaming pile of poop.
Conjuring 1 and 2 is basically all you need. Annabelle Creation was kind of cool.
Yeah, I'll give Annabelle Creation some bonus points.
Right, but it's just the same old shit, except it's totally ineffective and not scary. And there's drunk people in our theater. There's a misogynistic guy behind us, and I just didn't care about any of it. I was just... Talk all you want. I don't care. Let's get this shit show over with.
Yeah. But that just goes to show how unmemorable and fucking stupid Annabelle Comes Home was. We don't even remember what it was about. Moving on. And our next favorite movie of 2019 is another A24 movie. We got a few A24s in this list. Yeah. And that is the Gaspar Noé film Climax.
Mm-hmm. Which... might say is a 2018 film, but it was released in the States in 2019.
Yes, we could not legally watch that movie until March of 2019, so I count it as a 2019 movie, although on Wikipedia and everything it is listed as 2018. Phenomenal film. Of course, we are familiar...
Gaspar Noé.
We're familiar with his work. We've seen Enter the Void, which would be a great movie if it was an hour, maybe 90 minutes shorter. But this movie, I think... was even better. Yeah. I enjoyed it so much more than Enter the Void. Obviously, it's kind of less of a story than Enter the Void, but what it makes up for is its intense pace. The deep dive into madness, and you can just tell as the movie goes on and on, they're just getting more and more insane, because the story is like a dance group that... They're French. Yes, this film is not in English, however...
Some of it is.
Yeah, some of it is, but for the most part they're speaking French, but I will say that there's not really that much dialogue in the movie anyway. There's a certain point that hits when the madness truly gets set off. And
none of the dialogue even matters after that.
Right.
Well, it does matter, but you know what I mean. But basically, they're at this abandoned school practicing their dance routine. There's like a bunch of them. There's like 25 of them.
They like live there too. There's like dorms. There's like rooms they stay in.
Oh, okay.
So I would assume they live there.
Right. But basically, someone spikes the punch bowl with LSD, and everyone is drinking it, of course, and they just go insanity. And my favorite thing is that everyone has a different reaction.
Yeah.
Like, some people died, some people got heavily injured, some people just had sex and had a great time.
Right.
Some people were just dancing and like having a great time, while there's people like fighting and like stabbing each other, and like it was just a beautiful representation of like how drugs affect different people.
Yeah. And it gets so intense, and the camera work gets so crazy.
It's like upside down. There's super, super long takes.
There's one take in the movie that's 42 minutes long.
With no cut.
Yeah, and it's just masterfully crafted. There's really great dance. The opening dance segment, which you could actually watch in its entirety on YouTube, is fantastic. The choreography is insane.
Yeah.
So it's an experience. I would say that it's not a movie for everyone, but if you want to see something a little bit different, you should check out Climax. Yeah, and the soundtrack literally plays through the entire movie. There's always like bump and techno going on in the background. And that just, I saw this movie in theaters, and just one final thought, and seeing it in theaters and having the amazing sound, like surround sound quality, and being able to hear that music for so long in the movie, and it sounded like, you know, it was kind of like real, like how you hear music sitting in a room like that.
Yeah.
And it was just such an immersive experience.
Yeah. And there's like really artistic and like random like cuts where it'll cut to like big text on the screen. And
yeah.
I don't know. I really love this movie, even though I really don't know the point. It's basically just an event that happened, but it's so good.
Yeah. And its rewatchability, I think, is high. I've watched it a few times, and I am thoroughly entertained every time I watch it. So the rewatchability is there. It's just a damn entertaining film.
Another one of our worst for this year was Child's Play. Another soulless, unnecessary, and cheap remake. They dragged in poor Mark Hamill into this pointless, heartless, soulless project.
At least Mark got paid. Yeah, what a boring nothing movie. Has nothing on the original.
I do like the song they introduced. You are my buddy.
But really, that's just because it's Mark Hamill.
Yeah. A lot of the kills are off screen.
The Chucky design is horrible. The comedy doesn't land at all. It's super flat.
It's one of the worst things that these new reboots of classic horror is doing, is just having really modernized, unnecessary, excessive misfires of comedy. They did that a lot in Halloween 2018 as well, with the whole babysitter child thing.
Child's Play does have humor in it.
Now that is true,
but it's handled so much better. Because the thing that really is fucking annoying about this movie is what Universal Studios did to Don Mancini, who still is ongoing with the current Child's Play franchise, and it's still good.
Yeah. That's another. Curse of Chucky was really good.
Yeah,
Cult of Chucky was good.
I like Cult of Chucky a lot. I know some people don't like it, but I feel like it's zany in all the right ways, and
just like Child's Play is.
Yeah, and them literally rebooting the franchise while the series is still ongoing is just so disrespectful. Like, he's been involved pretty much since day one, although he didn't direct all of them, but he at least has writing credits, I believe, on every single film. So,
like, just the one guy deletes all the safety controls. Like, you could make an evil Chucky doll with the press of one button.
Yeah, it's so lazily put together. It's like, and Chucky's design is terrible. He looks awful. The animatronics also are embarrassing for a 2019 movie.
The evil stepdad just being the biggest cliche. Go clean your room.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm also cheating on your mom.
Yeah, it's
like everything is just one big cliche with that movie, and then it always just cuts away. Like, and we can never get Chucky talking shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk shit.
Nope.
Like, he doesn't curse or, like, do any of the classic Chucky things that we all love. And, like, I'll never forget that one time when he, like, the old lady, the car is driving itself, and then you finally see Chucky, he goes, ah, and then it just cuts away. You remember that, or?
Nope.
All right.
I don't remember much about Child's Play. I will not lie to you.
All right, our next great film.
Yes.
2019. Quentin Tarantino film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yep. Didn't love it as much as I wanted to. I wanted this to be my, a new number 2, because nothing will ever be better than The Hateful Eight.
I agree.
But still a great movie. I don't want to say like I think it's like mediocre or anything, because I truly think it was a fantastic watch. Yeah. Highly entertaining. The payoff, the final 20 minutes, easily the most I've laughed and like been excited in a theater for probably the whole year, just because of how zany and crazy it really jumps off.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Just the set design, like they made like whole little towns just for this movie that like any other director, any other studio would just be like, let's CGI that shit in. I mean, even in big like David Fincher or Denis Villeneuve, or however you pronounce his last name, a lot of times like the background will be CG, but like when you watch the behind the scenes stuff and like what you're seeing on the screen is real, and it just all looks like, you know, the 60s? 69?
Or 60s.
Yeah, so I loved it.
Yeah.
You're right, it's not my favorite, and I didn't love it as much as I wanted to, especially coming off of The Hateful Eight being his last film and how much we love that. And Django Unchained. But we get classic Tarantino violence at the end.
Yeah. And it delivers. And Leonardo DiCaprio is amazing. Brad Pitt is fantastic.
You got Margot Robbie in there.
Yeah. I hate the people that criticize this movie for thinking that it was ever going to be about only the Charles Manson things. When Quentin Tarantino was clearly expressing it was more about like Hollywood in that era and like other actors. I feel like that stuff was handled as well as it could be. I'm glad they didn't take the real life approach, because
it's another example of Tarantino rewriting history in a positive way.
But obviously what happened in real life is horrible, and I don't think I necessarily would have wanted to see that.
Yeah. I mean, I was getting kind of sick when like the Manson people were rolling up. I was like, it was like Sharon Tate was pregnant when she was brutally murdered with her boyfriend and her friends. So like, I was like, yeah, maybe, you know, I like this, what they're going to do with this.
Yeah, because that's another thing. It's like Quentin Tarantino has rewritten history many times.
And like he shows that they're scumbags.
Right.
And they get brutally murdered and burnt to a crisp.
Which I think is a perfect way to just like dishonor the memory of those disgusting, horrible people. Like now when people see this movie and, you know, they don't necessarily research it as deeply as possible, they'll think like they were bumbling fools. Which, I mean, they were. They just, you know, killed innocent people.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with that. Because it was never trying to be a super accurate, detailed existence
and
about
there's somehow
Sharon Tate.
Always like controversy with Quentin Tarantino.
True.
Being like either racist or sexist or like a fascist Nazi.
Yeah.
Have you seen Inglourious Bastards?
Where Hitler's getting shot in the face by a Jewish man.
Have you seen Inglourious Bastards?
Anyways, moving on to a movie that I didn't hate, and I don't think it's nearly as bad as everyone makes it out to be. It's still a pile of shit, but there was so much like hyperbole going on for this movie, and I'm talking about the 2019 reboot of Hellboy.
I did not see this one.
Directed by Neil Marshall, who has made some bangers, Dog Soldiers and The Descent.
Oh.
And of course stars David Harbour as Hellboy, which not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick. But this movie reeks of studio interference. It's like a horror movie version of Suicide Squad.
And didn't you tell me they added in like comedy a whole bunch?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's like a horror movie version of Suicide Squad.
Okay.
So imagine
what's that? The stench of death?
Yeah, imagine like how messy and discombobulated, and the music too. There's a lot of licensed music, transitional scenes in Hellboy 2019. Oof. And it is a big fucking oof. They turn Hellboy into an annoying, complaining character. It totally is not how he is in the comic books or in the Guillermo del Toro films, which are amazing. And yes, I am biased, because those movies actually had someone who gives a shit behind them. I mean, I think Neil Marshall cared. I don't think it's his fault at all. It's definitely seems like studio interference, because there are little nuggets in the movie where you're like, I think this is an original Neil Marshall vision going on right here. But
and then it just...
Yeah, it's scene after scene after scene that are not connected in any way at all. And of course, this movie heavily teases that there will be a sequel. And of course, you got a little too cocky there, Hellboy, because your movie fucking sucked.
Our next film for the best of 2019 is Dr. Sleep, the sequel to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. surprisingly respectable sequel. Which is, of course, based off of the Dr. Sleep book. So I'm guessing the Dr. Sleep book is a respectable sequel to The Shining as well. That doesn't... The main thing this thing did that saved it was not over-relying on...
Yeah.
They didn't pull a Rogue One and went, remember The Shining?
I mean, that's not to say that you don't, like, when they go back to the Overlook Hotel, they totally, like, mimic the shots and do things like that. But it's handled in a way that makes sense for the story and is tasteful. It's not any obnoxious, like, references to The Shining.
It's not really scary except for some parts. I also feel that way about The Shining.
Yeah.
Even though it's a horror film.
I think The Shining is a lot creepier, but Dr. Sleep is just an entertaining film.
At the beginning of Dr. Sleep, that really creepy shot of the bathtub.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my... Like, when it's super far away at the end of the highway, I was like, oh,
yeah.
I like that.
But the movie's directed by Mike Flanagan, and I'm a big fan of his work, and it makes sense, because his movies are never particularly scary. He definitely puts a lot of focus on character, which I appreciate. He also did the adaptation of Gerald's Game, which is what I would assume got him Dr. Sleep, because Gerald's Game is fantastic. It's disgusting. It's unbelievably creepy. And I think Dr. Sleep...
Gerald's Game is.
Yes.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was a creepy movie. I mean, I knew it was a Stephen King adaptation, but, like, doesn't she just get trapped to the bed? Or?
No, there's other stuff.
Oh.
There's other stuff.
I thought it was more of a survival
I mean, it is.
story.
It is.
Oh.
It's both.
Well, I have to watch it. Is it still on Netflix?
Yes, it's a Netflix-produced film. It's not going anywhere. But I'd highly recommend you watch it sooner than later.
Yeah.
But back to Dr. Sleep.
It does its own thing. Like, the cult thing, and, like, I was just so relieved that it was just its own story.
Yeah.
Like, I really like... I don't know, spoilers or...
Yeah, spoilers. Sorry.
When the whole cult just gets... They're just like, fuck it, we're just going to get the strap.
Yeah.
And they just kill almost all the cult members. I was like, this is great.
That part was funny, but it was also a little like... Because, like, the cult is super interesting, and they just pretty much kill every single one of them in one scene. And...
There's also some pretty graphic child murder.
Yeah, true.
Some bloody child.
Jacob Tremblay, of all people.
He's back in a good movie again.
Yeah.
He's flip-flopping.
Yeah. He's like, the Predator, get that out of here. And I liked that they, instead of digitally de-aging people, they actually just cast different actors, and you knew, like I knew instantly, oh, that's Dick Halloran. Oh, that's Danny. Oh, that's, spoiler alert, Jack.
Yeah. And
I bought it. I thought their performances were pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree. I don't like the use of CGI or digital de-aging.
Yeah. I would prefer to just cast a different fucking actor.
Perfect example would be Rogue One, where it's this Grand Moff Tarkin, which you can easily tell that it's fake because you know in your mind this man has passed away and he's not really there. But in Revenge of the Sith, they got a guy that just really looks like Tarkin, and he's like standing next to Vader and the Emperor at the final shot when they're on the Death Star. I'm like, more respect for that.
Yeah.
Like, just get someone that looks like him.
Because also, no matter what, CG is going to age 1,000 times worse than doing something in real life. So even digital de-aging, you look back at early examples of when they did that in movies, and it looks like shit now. And it's going to continue to be like that. So respect to Dr. Sleep for actually casting different actors to play existing characters.
So next for to add to our worst, it's a controversial one.
This is going to be super controversial.
But odds are you're probably not that far into the video anyway.
True.
So
we'll find out when the comments start rolling in.
Joker 2019.
Yeah.
Now hang on a second.
I can hear your keyboard clacking. Pause.
Yeah, I don't even care because I can't convince you otherwise.
Oh, yeah, true.
This is a movie where people, they just think they're so unbelievably clever for going, yeah, this is a stoner movie. It's like, yeah, themes of society and mental health, man.
Yeah.
Identity, man. It's just, it looks like it was directed by, like, a film student.
I liked the...
Do you get film student vibes? Like, edgy, like, you know.
in some scenes, but I would say overall I enjoyed the cinematography. If there was something that I liked about Joker, it's Joaquin Phoenix's performance. It's pretty good. And I thought some parts of the movie were shot pretty well, but I understand what you mean.
No, I didn't mean the cinematography. I just meant like the themes.
Oh, okay.
The story.
Oh, yeah, the themes
like
are
edgy film student.
Yeah, for sure. And the movie's not deep at all. It beats you over the head with these themes to the point of the characters are legitimately saying, and that's one thing I really hate in a movie is when the characters have to explicitly state the themes of the movie to the audience. And that's my issue is like Joker is a deep movie for I'm sorry, this is going to sound really mean. Joker is a deep movie for stupid people.
I mean, yeah, it's that same thing with like Rick and Morty when like people don't really do this anymore.
Yeah.
When the show first came out, they're like, yeah, your IQ is probably not high enough to understand. Like, you actually have to be like smart to understand like the jokes and stuff. Like,
yeah.
And Rick and Morty's so stupid and just. It's like, this is the movie that, like, Deadpool and Rick and Morty fans are going to love because they think it's so deep when everything is so surface level and on the nose.
Yeah.
Especially that scene where... Because obviously the two big themes are, like, society and mental health and, like, anti-fascism and stuff like that. So there's a scene with, like, the therapist or whoever it was when she was like, they don't care about people like you anymore. And then there's this pause. And they don't care about people like us either. She might as well just looked into the camera and said, you're mentally ill, they don't care about you, but I'm the working class and they don't care about me either.
Yeah. It's like it's just too on the nose. And
so ooh, God, I hate this scene is during the climax, which everybody loves, but when he was like, what do you get when you cross a mentally ill loner in a society that treats him like trash? Like we get it. You're an edgelord, Joker. Jared Leto Joker should have been this one with the damaged tattoo. I'm so damaged, man. Like, God, I really do not like the content of this film, which sucks because it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the look of Gotham, and they made it look just ghetto and trashy like how Gotham is actually supposed to look. So.
And the awful Thomas Wayne subplot.
Which goes nowhere.
But they have to show... They absolutely have to show Bruce Wayne's parents dying again. Stop. Why was that in a Joker origin movie?
I do like the blood smile at the end.
Yeah, true, but like
there's some cool visual cues like that, but
yeah, but overall the story not really that engaging, pretty generic. You're run of the mill like, oh, this guy just had one too many bad days and now he snapped.
Which bogs down the Joker as a character.
Yeah.
Who I stopped taking my pills. So that's how the Joker... That's the criminal mastermind Joker.
Right.
This
Joker...
Exactly. I don't buy him as the Joker because he's a mentally disturbed man. He's not a criminal mastermind.
Yeah. He doesn't...
The clown prince of crime.
Right. When you compare like Heath Ledger's Joker, where you can believe like, okay, this guy, he says he doesn't know how to organize anything, but clearly he has some sort of organizational abilities. And you compare it to this one and you're like, no.
Yeah.
No.
And just people love this movie.
Yeah.
And it's one of those movies that people go, you just didn't get it.
True.
It's totally one of these, like, false, like, deep movies that people are going to go, anyone who dislikes this just didn't get it. It was a masterpiece. True. You just didn't understand the subtext and the themes.
So we're going to stop the video right there. We're actually going to be splitting this into 2 parts. So come back for part 2. It'll probably be posted on the same day, maybe a day later. I'm not 100% sure about that. But if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Come back for part 2. We're going to be talking about some more great movies and some more not so great movies. You're definitely going to want to stick around for that second video. Of course, I'm Nate, joined with Justin.
See you guys later.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.